establishing a religious center. Having consolidated his kingship and captured Jerusalem, King David had a great desire to bring the Ark of the Covenant to the new capital. The Ark of the Covenant was the most sacred gold-covered wooden chest, containing the 10 Commandments and serving as the visible symbol of God's holy presence and covenant with the people of Israel. David's goal was to bring the Ark from the house of Abinadab in Kiriath-Jearim, where it had been for 20 years after being returned by the Philistines, to Jerusalem. This was intended to unify the kingdom and transform Jerusalem into not only the political center but also the sacred religious center for all of Israel, concentrating all worship activities in one place. Despite his good intentions, David and the people committed a serious error in the method of transportation, demonstrating disobedience to the law taught to Moses. Instead of carrying it by poles, wood that must not be removed from the ark's rings, they placed the ark on a new ox cart. The core mistake was not obeying God's law. Using an ox cart increased the risk of the ark tilting or falling, which created the situation where Uzzah had to reach out and touch it. The limit of holiness. God had established strict boundaries for handling the sacred objects to protect His majesty and holiness. They shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. This law was intended to emphasize the separation between a holy God and sinful humanity. The Ark of the Covenant was not merely a religious item but symbolized God's throne on earth. Touching the Ark, regardless of the intention, was considered an act of contempt or irreverence towards His absolute holiness, and the punishment had been clearly warned as death. This context of disobedience in the means of transport directly led to Uzzah's violation of the forbidden touch, resulting in immediate judgment. The hand that touched the Ark of the Covenant. The incident occurred while King David and the people were joyfully escorting the Ark of the Covenant from the house of Abinadab to Jerusalem on a new ox cart. The procession was moving, accompanied by the rejoicing and music of David and all the people of Israel. However, a sudden event took place when they arrived at a place called the threshing floor of Nachon. When they came to the threshing floor of Nachon, the oxen stumbled. This staggering caused the cart carrying the Ark of the Covenant to tilt, and the Ark, the most sacred object, was in danger of falling to the ground or being damaged. Uzzah and Ahio, the two sons of Abinadab, were walking beside and guiding the cart. Facing the risk of the Ark falling, Uzzah had a natural and immediate reaction. He reached out and held the Ark. Uzzah put out his hand to the Ark of God and took hold of it. His intention may have been good. Uzzah's action seemed to come from a good intention, which was to protect the Ark from dishonor or damage, showing concern for the holy object. However, his act of touching the Ark was a direct violation of the divine law. Uzzah's action, despite his good intentions, was regarded by God as irreverence or error, carelessness, as it severely violated the established sacred boundary. Then the anger of the Lord was aroused against Uzzah. His anger emphasized that his holiness had been offended. God struck him there for his error, and he died there by the Ark of God. Uzzah was instantly struck dead on the spot, beside the Ark of the Covenant. The joy of the procession was abruptly ended by the tragedy. Uzzah's death was a terrifying reminder of the absolute holiness of God and the severe consequences of disobeying His law, regardless of the circumstances. Although Uzzah's action appeared to be an attempt to protect the sacred object, God struck him dead for his error or irreverence, depending on the translation, which is understood through the following aspects: violation of absolute law. God had set clear boundaries to emphasize His absolute holiness. The Ark of the Covenant was his dwelling place. Uzzah touching the Ark was an act of contempt for the sacred boundary and God's majesty, treating the Ark as an ordinary object. Subjective attitude, presumption. Uzzah had lived near the Ark for a long time, which may have led him to become overly familiar and lose the necessary fear and reverence for the holy object. He acted as though God needed human assistance to protect his sacred property, demonstrating a lack of trust in God's power. Consequence of prior disobedience: the use of an ox cart instead of carrying poles created this dangerous situation from the very beginning. Uzzah's death was the ultimate consequence of a chain of disobedient acts by David and the people for not following God's prescribed method of transportation. The incident of Uzzah's death has profound teaching significance: the importance of holiness. It teaches that God is absolutely holy, and humanity must approach him in the way he has prescribed, with utmost reverence and respect, without acting arbitrarily or irreverently. The necessity of absolute obedience. Good intentions cannot substitute for adherence to God's law. A lesson for David. Uzzah's death caused David to be fearful and angry, but he later recognized his mistake and learned how to transport the Ark of the Covenant according to the law, thereby re-establishing proper worship. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on new content.